Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I am joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck, and we're going to go over all the games from Sunday of Week 13. Follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Ringer Fantasy Football. Email us fantasy court cases and trivia questions at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. We're going to go through all the games on Sunday, but first we have to talk about the Bills disemboweled, atomized, destroyed, annihilated the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday night. The final score, I mean, it was a lot to a little. It was 35-10. Could have been 45-10. It could have been 28-20, but it also could have been like 50-3. It was a crazy game. I don't know where you guys want to start. I would like to just say for the record, DK, I love snow football. DK, have you changed your mind on snow football?
I felt like I came over to the snow football side in the last podcast. I'm going to go check the tape on this because I felt
you
like
were easily convinced.
Yeah,
I
was like, it's fun. It's nostalgic. It makes me think it's like the holidays, and there's something special about that. I'd rather have like all the 49ers not completely suck ass in fantasy, but you know what? That's fine. Like
I also think the Bills are the best snow team and the best snow fan base.
100%.
Totally.
The people there were having an absolute blast. I always forget that, East Coast time, Liz walked in. She was like, she had got dinner with her sister, came home, looked at the screen, and she's like, oh my God, like the snow, it's unbelievable. And I was like, yeah. And we were joking about the fans there. And I was like, it's 10:45 for those people on a Sunday night. The team is up 35-10. And they're sitting on a foot of snow in their seat, cheering their fucking ass off. Those people are just built different. They deserve to win. The Bills deserve everything. Josh Allen deserves an MVP. I don't think there has been a happier team. The chasm between happiness and sadness between the two teams tonight, I think, was the largest I've ever seen it. The Niners game today, I think, was the saddest game I've seen all season by any team.
Yeah.
None of those guys wanted to be out there for the second half, maybe even starting in the second quarter. Yeah. It was brutal. I mean, after McCaffrey went down, the snow started to fall really hard. Things were tough, man. The Shanahan on the sideline, you couldn't tell what was beard, what was snow. The vibes for the poor Niners are just all-time bad, and I don't love it. I have a lot of friends who are Niners fans. I root for the Niners, in some ways. Just terrible, terrible vibes in San Francisco.
I have no comment as a Seahawks fan. I'm not trying to rile up 49ers fans right now, but tough times for the 49ers. It was like this is total cliche, but it was like, oh, California team goes over to the East Coast, it's snowing, and Brock Purdy and his teeny tiny hands can't throw in the snow. Like
it's
just like
slips out.
He like tried to throw a pass, it just like floop went out of his fingers. So anyways, it was tough. Obviously, they're really super beat up. And have been all season. I think.
Can I go? We always say that about a team.
Are they more injured physically or mentally?
Both.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think all the time about how George Kittle said we have 1,000 scars before they lost to Patrick Mahomes blowing a lead in the Super Bowl again. And so, but it is worth going over all the injuries in this team again. Trent Williams, the best left tackle in the NFL, was out for this game. Aaron Brewer, another guard for this team, is out. Brandon Ayuk is obviously out for the season. Then on defense, they have Nick Bosa, who's one of the 3 or 4 best edge rushers in the NFL. Javon Hargrave, who's a crucial defensive tackle. Dre Greenlaw, who tore his Achilles, running onto the goddamn field in the Super Bowl. And that linebacker spot has been a weakness for them all season. And then they're also missing Lenoir. I can never pronounce his name. Diamador Lenoir, who I always confuse him with Fleur Delacour from Harry Potter. But he's important in the secondary. Ufanga, their awesome safety. They're all out. That does not even include Brock Purdy having a sore shoulder, Christian McCaffrey with the double contagious Achilles tendonitis the rot or grayscale or whatever, combined with the PCL injury or whatever he had tonight. And that doesn't include Fred Warner, one of the 3 best defenders in the NFL and their inside linebacker, breaking his ankle a month ago. He's been playing through it. Wasn't even on the injury report, by the way. Like, when they showed that
shenanigans.
I understand that Kyle Shanahan's very sad, like Kendall Roy. I've never seen an NFL team so blatantly disregard the injury report or the concept of it as this season. But I will say, when they flashed that stat on Sunday Football, the Niners have had 37 games missed this season by Pro Bowl players last year.
Yeah.
Did you even mention Brandon Ayuk tearing his ACL? I think you might have forgotten.
He did mention Brandon Ayuk.
I was just sorry. I was just reading it from a scroll. It was hard to keep track of.
Debo is perpetually banged up. And then immediately in this game, I think it's like the second snap, Debo stepped on Juwan Jennings' foot. He's like limping. And then Juwan Jennings later in the game got like rolled up on when he was blocking downfield. These poor Niners are so beat up. It's insane.
Listening to Collinsworth was funny tonight because he was like, it felt like he was trying to remind people who were maybe watching football for the first time tonight that the Niners used to be good. It was like talking about his old buddy from college and how he was like a legend back in 78. And he was just like, look, I know it doesn't seem like it, but the Niners used to dominate in these types of situations, man. Like, trust me, George Kittle could chug a beer before the other team could get a snap off. Like, these guys used to be legends. That was just like the theme of the whole day was like, man, this looks bad. Now, these guys used to be pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, right. This felt like the end of the Niners season, and it was absolutely.
It felt like something bigger. I maybe I'm a little bit too inside the bottle that I can't read the label, but I spent the week with a lot of Niners fans, my family, and all of them want Shanahan gone.
What?
Yeah.
What?
They all want him gone. They're like,
they want Shanahan gone?
Yeah, they're like the end of game coaching stuff. It's not there. They want the defensive coordinator gone as well, but they're just like the vibes, they can't be recovered. Even if Shanahan will go somewhere else and be successful, it's unsalvageable right now, the way this team is built and like what they've been through since 2019 when they lost that first Super Bowl. They're like, we're done. We can't move on. We're not going to be able to go back to what it was.
Dude, I've been saying since they lost the Super Bowl that Shanahan would inherit the Andy Reid Eagles tenure of like, it will just peter out. But I did not think that any Niners fans had gotten to the point where they want Kyle Shanahan gone at this point.
They're sick of the late game stuff. That was like the real theme of the week.
And now McCaffrey probably going to be out extended amount of time again. He has a PCL injury, it looks like, according to Kyle Shanahan.
I'm not a doctor, but I think he tore his Achilles.
Well, he walked off though, like really casually, and like they called it a knee. I guess
they called it a knee injury, but
there's a clip. If you watch the slow mo of that play, it was honestly like Greenlaw, who like didn't do anything and tore his Achilles. It looked like the same thing.
Took a step.
He took one step, and his whole left leg pops. Like it's the camera is looking at the back of his calf, and you see the whole thing ripple. And obviously, the guy has double Achilles tendonitis. Like.
It's not a leap, is it?
It's certainly not.
I think the guy with the double Achilles tendonitis had an Achilles injury.
I don't know. It looked like a lot of the other ones that we've seen because they're so common now. And it made me think, I was like, again, this is super dark and I feel really bad for Niners fans. I'm sorry. But I'm like, part of me is like, I wonder if McCaffrey's ever going to play football again. Like this guy's getting really beat up. Yeah, he's going to be 29 before this. If he tore his Achilles, whatever, his PCL, I don't know, man. Things are really bad on him physically, and he's the best. I love him. I want him to play forever. He's a Hall of Famer and one of the best to ever do it.
If Nick Chubb came back within a year, I think Christian McCaffrey will play football again.
I just worry that he's going the way of Todd Gurley because it was tendonitis, and that stuff does not go away. So that I fear for him in that way.
Todd Gurley's knee was arthritic even in like college, so I think that they knew Todd Gurley had like a timeline on him from the jump. But yeah, no, I mean frankly, it's like if McCaffrey's out for the season, he should be. The Niners season is out for the season, so I mean.
If he did tear his Achilles tonight, is he going to be back week 1? No, he's probably not going to be back till the end of next year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And then
we talk about
side,
the happy stuff.
The flip side. Yeah, jeez, God.
Happy place. Go to a happy place.
Craig's just upset because Jennings
it's like
cost the
beer.
Jennings did lose me my fantasy matchup. I was really mad about that. Actually, he didn't do anything wrong. I love Juwan Jennings, but
Brock Purdy had 94 yards passing. They can't throw in the snow. His forearm wasn't working.
Happy stuff. Buffalo Bills.
Good team.
What a team. What a
Josh
team. What
Allen,
a quarterback.
Josh Allen passed 2 passing touchdowns, 1 to himself, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown, which I believe the last players to do that were, ironically, Christian McCaffrey with the Niners a couple years ago and LaDainian Tomlinson. I think Josh Allen,
he's pretty good.
He's the most fun player to root for, right?
Yeah. I think today was Josh Allen's Apex Mountain, right? He just got engaged to Haley Steinfeld.
Yep.
Shouts out him. Kind of an iconic Monday night snow game in Buffalo, beat the Niners, the team he grew up loving, probably cemented his MVP win for the first time in his career. They clinched a spot. They won the AFC East tonight. It's week 13. Yeah. They clinched the AFC East.
He threw a fucking touchdown pass to himself.
Yeah. He caught his own touchdown in 15 years.
Yeah, I really, this has to be Apex Mountain for Josh Allen. Even being in an AFC championship game, no, because he lost all of those. It has to be right now. This is the peak. He might keep peaking, but right now, this is his peak. Right.
He got engaged this week. I think you're right. Craig, you might be right. That was an iconic game. Also, because this game was the battle of the bridesmaids, right? Like, these are the two teams, frankly, defined by losing to Patrick Mahomes. And the Bills kicked the shit out of the Niners when the Bills were the ones who were kind of like, oh, they're the ones taking a step back. But, like, no, like, the Bills look ready to go for the next few years. And I'm looking at the homepage of ESPN right now, and it is just Josh Allen diving through the snow on that play where Amari Cooper tossing the ball. Yeah. That was an iconic play. And also that play broke the record for the fastest the play went from looking like kind of jumbled, nondescript, like a little wonky to the coolest play I've ever seen. Of like Amari Cooper just like reeling in an off-target pass, getting slowly dragged down to the ground by three guys, none of which wanted to really make the tackle. And then Josh Allen just comes into the screen and Amari Cooper just tosses him the ball, which is probably a dumb idea because it's snowing. And then Josh Allen just like jumps in. He's holding the ball in his right hand, which is the one that got banged up earlier in the game, and it's been bothering him.
I thought it was the left hand, actually.
No, it's his right hand. He's with his non-throwing hand, which is the one that's hurt. And he's like smashing the pylon with the ball. Honestly, he is a superhero. And I guess the way I would think of Josh Allen, I thought that like football, like the players that made me feel like a kid again were guys that I watched when I was young. And honestly, the only player that started playing football when I was an adult that still makes me feel like a kid again sometimes is Josh Allen.
Yeah. He's the golden retriever quarterback. Just happy.
Do you think I would love it if the Chiefs and the Bills meet in the AFC Championship, because then now we could have like a Taylor Swift and her crew in one box, and then Haley Steinfeld and her crew in the other box.
Was Haley Steinfeld in one of Taylor Swift's videos?
I don't know. Bad Blood. Everybody's in Bad Blood.
Can you explain who Haley Steinfeld is for the people who don't
know? She's a actress in her late 20s. She was in True Grit. I think that was kind of her big breakout performance. And honestly, she does a ton of voice acting. She's in the Across the Spider-Verse movies. She's in like a bunch of movies. Honestly, in a lot of animated roles. I'm trying to think of the last thing she's acted in that was big. But yeah,
it's looking like she was in Bad Blood. The video.
Oh, interesting. That's a wrinkle.
Prominently in Bad Blood.
So they'll play Bad Blood if the Chiefs and Bills meet again.
DK, honestly,
everyone's like, "Oh God!"
Shouts at you to be the one to know that fact.
Yeah, how did I know that?
That was shocking.
How often do you watch Bad Blood? Is that a rewatchable music video for you?
That is amazing that I've ever seen it. In fact,
every night before he goes to bed.
Yeah,
fire that up.
Oh my God. Also, I before we move on, I have to shout out that I didn't think I could love that play anymore where Josh Allen ended up getting, so he didn't get a catch, but he got the passing touchdown and the receiving touchdown. So that was like a 10 or 12 point fantasy football play, basically. And I didn't think I could love it more. And then Chris Collinsworth is like, nice, now I'm beating my son Jack in fantasy. And I'm like, and it beat Jack Collinsworth. I didn't think I could love the play more. And then I'm like, nah, and it took down Jack Collinsworth. So that's a great
play. I know.
Play.
I feel like betting has become more acceptable to talk about on air than fantasy, which is dumb to me. Like, let's talk fantasy on air.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, they'll have like Jason Garrett on NBC or someone talking about like, I got the Cowboys given 4.5 points, Mike. And it's like, yeah, I'd rather just hear Chris Collinsworth. Who did he draft? Like, that's.
I want to hear Romo like talk about which players he started at wide receiver and why. I would love that.
Yeah, that's true. Tony Romo, come with the show. All right, let's get to winners and losers from the day. Craig, who is your winner Sunday week 13 other than Josh Allen, who I think is probably the big boy winner? But
my boy Russ is cooking. Steelers beat the Bengals today, baby. 44-38, highest game total of the year. A lot of crazy Russ stats today. Russ really cooked. Feels like him and Arthur Smith are really molding together. They're really kind of understanding one another, doing everything that Russ likes and nothing that Russ hates at the offense. It's if this was the most aesthetically pleasing Steelers game in, dude, I don't know how long, since like prime Ben, everything was working today. Russ threw for 414 yards. DK, that's the second most of his career.
I know. I was actually going to ask you, has he ever thrown for more than that? I can't remember.
Once.
Only
like
once.
450
in my head.
Yeah, like 2017, 2018 in Seattle, he did that. That's it, though. It was the most in the first half of his career, 259 in the first half. So I was looking up a couple stats over his career. Albeit this is only he's only started 6 games for the Steelers. But if you look at these 6 games from this season and then all his other seasons, Russ is throwing for more yards per game than any other season of his career.
Yeah, 271 yards a game, I think.
Yeah. Distributing the ball. 9 different guys today had more than 20 yards. Defense making big plays. They scored their first defensive touchdown of the year, which was kind of surprising. Yeah. Still, I now believe. I think I've been very skeptical this entire time. Look, the Bengals defense also might be really bad.
Well, yeah, that's the Bengals are like the get right team for everyone. So like
we put up 44 points with Russell Wilson, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, and George Pickens. Like this is impressive.
We can get to the Bengals D in a second, but again, it is a bad D. But again, when you play a bad D, you know what you want. So this from Ben Baby, who covers the Bengals. The 48 combined points in the first half of the Bengals-Steelers game today was the most in any half of any AFC North game since the division was created in 2002.
Really?
Which is like,
That's
what
wild.
the fuck? It was the most points at halftime in the history of Steelers-Bengals. There have been 110 games in the history of Steelers-Bengals. This was the most points at half. So, yeah, it was kind of jarring to see Pittsburgh putting like a genuine shootout between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
And this game started with a pick six. Russ threw a pick six to begin the game. And
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. Cam Taylor-Britt, I couldn't tell what happened. George Pickens
Shoved
like
him
tripped.
down by his head.
It was kind of like Cam Taylor-Britt was like hitting Pickens in the chest, and then Pickens tripped. And so Cam Taylor-Britt was delated to shove his face to the ground and just catch the ball on a hook for him.
It's always Pickens, too.
It's always Pickens.
Pickens is always involved in everything.
But he got the revenge touchdown on the next drive. It was crazy.
And then Pickens took it upon himself to just play his own game. And the rest of the game, his only goal was just to taunt Cam Taylor-Britt as much as he possibly could, regardless of how it affected his team.
Also, the Bengals were wild. I think Mike Hilton, someone just said out loud, like before the game, and they were just like, yeah, the key to beating the Steelers is like, you got to get in George Pickens' head early in the game. I didn't expect them to be like, they're literally going to shove him in the head like immediately to start the game. But it worked.
Tomlin called him out. Tomlin was basically, in the post game, he was like, straight up, George needs to be more mature.
He needs to grow up
quick.
Fast. Yeah, he said he needs to grow up quick. Tomlin kind of came for him publicly in a way I haven't usually seen. But I do just want to save the Bengals for a moment. Speaking of bad vibes, I think this was sneaky bad vibes for the Bengals because I think the Bengals have been like just slightly more depressed every single week. Like Joe Burrow, ironically, probably having the best season of his entire career.
I know, he's
more
playing so well.
Dude, the Bengals defense is so bad. Like the Bengals, I saw this from Christopher Carter. The last 3 Bengals games versus the Steelers, Kenny Pickett had the most yards of his career versus the Bengals, and then Mason Rudolph had the most yards of his career versus the Bengals, and then Russell
Kenny
Wilson
Pickett's stat of the day is back.
Yeah, and then Russell Wilson just had the second most yards of his career against the Bengals. That's the last 3 games the Steelers have played, so that's not good. But I couldn't believe this. I'm just going to list a bunch of stuff I saw. First of all, I mean, this is just off the dome, but the Bengals are going to have the leader in passing yards at Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, who's probably going to lead the league in receiving yards and maybe in receiving touchdowns, and Trey Hendrickson, who's going to lead the league in sacks. And they're not going to make the playoffs, which is like crazy.
Like they're not even going to get close.
Not going to get close. And then Paul Denner Jr. at The Athletic, I'm just going to quote him because he wrote a great story today. The Bengals now hold the record for most losses in a single season when scoring at least 33 points.
I was going to ask about that. Every game they lose like 35-38.
It's week 13. They have the record. They're 2-4 when they score 33 points. The rest of the NFL this year is 51-1.
That sucks.
And I think the worst moment for the defense, and again, the defense is just an abomination. Like I we could go into that, more in the offseason or whatever, but like I feel like basically they were content to not sign anyone defensive tackle and just hope Byron Murphy would fall to them in the first round. He didn't. They're screwed. All their secondary, they let Jesse Bates go at safety. There's a disaster. They haven't hit a defender in the draft. And 10 or 9 of their last 10 picks in the top 100 in the draft were defenders. 8 of them aren't very good. But then the one that my favorite one, and this one also kind of just hit me. The last play I thought was the most pathetic when they bring Justin Fields in to ice the game, which I don't really know why they do that, but they bring him in and only bring Fields onto the field.
Why do they do it? Because it works.
I know, but they bring Fields onto the field to when they need a first down to ice the game, they bring Fields on to run a read option. So all he does is just run a read option.
Yeah.
The Bengals didn't contain Fields on the read option. It's the only play they run in that situation. And they didn't do it at all. He just ran for the first and slid. I was like, that was so humiliating.
Unstoppable. Can't run that with Russ.
Yeah. Anyway, DK, who's your loser of the day?
The Jets and the Seahawks, even though they won, and me
and the Seahawks
and me for having to watch that freaking abomination of a game. That was like the worst game I've ever seen in my life.
The Seahawks
watch this game.
the Seahawks wins take so much time off your life. Like,
Oh,
you're
just
gonna live
pure
less.
misery. Pure misery until like the final freaking 5 minutes of this game or whatever.
It's like when you drop your phone and you're afraid that the screen cracked and you're like, I don't even want to look. And you look it up, you're like, oh, it's fine.
Dude, there was another situation where, and this happens every week. I swear I say this every week. I'm getting like texts about how much people hate the Seahawks. I can't watch this fucking team. I hate the Seahawks. Blah blah blah. And then like 15 minutes later, it's like, anyway, good win. Move on to next week. The Seahawks. Okay, first of all, obviously the Jets. The Jets are the Jets. The Jets suck. This is like one of the worst years in Jets history, which is saying like a lot.
Yeah.
But I
So
can't
pathetic.
overstate how terrible the Seahawks were in this game. On special teams in the first half alone, they fumbled 3 returns. They lost 2 to the other team, and they gave up a kick return touchdown. So they lost 2 fumbles on returns and gave up a kick return touchdown.
And they had an extra point blocked.
They had an extra point blocked. They later lost their punter to an injury, which actually helped them because they had to go for it on 4th down, even though they were in their own end, and they got the 4th down conversion.
This is one of the weirdest special teams games ever that a team won. Maybe the worst.
Anyways, the Seahawks, they spotted the Jets 21 points. They still managed to come back, which is a great credit to them. Obviously, I'm joking around about how much I hate the Seahawks, but they did show, I think, a lot of fight in coming back in this game, and that was really encouraging. But a couple of things really had to go their way. Like Aaron Rodgers, he had Garrett Wilson wide open for a touchdown on one play, and he missed him. He threw it over his head. And on the next play, it was a 92-yard pick six by Leonard Williams. Like that play completely swung me.
Dude, that was the thickest of thick sixes. It was the thickest 6 of all time. Dude, Bill Barnwell tweeted this out. ESPN has data for return touchdowns and player weights for since 2000. And that was the first 300, that was the heaviest anybody's ever returned a 91 yard.
He was running like 18. I think I saw 18 miles an hour or something like that.
He got to 18 miles an hour. And Leonard Williams, like nobody over 260 has ever had like a 90+ yard interception
18 miles
return.
an hour? How fast can like a normal person run? Can I get to 15? How fast can I get?
Yeah, you can get to 15.
Can I get to 18?
It's like the 40-yard dash where you're like, wait.
Like, am I faster than Leonard Williams?
No.
I'd
be shocked. No, that definitely not.
Dude,
That
Leonard
guy
Williams
is
is not young either. He's 30.
Craig, dude,
I'm
he's our
30.
age. He's our age. No, Leonard Williams. No, but it's kind of like the 40-yard dash messes with you because you're like, oh, so 4.2 is like the record, and 4.5 is like an NFL wide receiver in the first round, and then like 5.2 is like someone you know,
right?
And it's like I think the mile. It's like 23 is like Usain Bolt, but like you probably know people who could hit 19.
Well, Leonard, if you're at Media Week for during the Super Bowl in New Orleans and you want to run, if you want to race me, let me know.
Dude, if anyone knows an NFL player that would race Craig at the Super Bowl, please.
Well, it needs to be somebody very slow.
Needs to be 30 years old and
maybe
it would take anyone. Beggars can't be choosers. Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com.
Yeah, I guess if Jamar Chase wants to race me, that'd be funny too. But I would love to race like Jared Goff.
I've seen Jared Goff run in person and on television, and he runs like a baby giraffe.
Could you outrun Matt Stafford? You backed him up for a couple of years, didn't you?
Yeah.
I probably could, right? Stafford's
I don't
also
think
so
Stafford
beat up.
would run on principle.
No. He needs to conserve his body in any way he can. I think he just goes into a hyperbaric chamber for 6 months in the offseason.
Dude, he didn't have any scrambles until
last week was the first time he scrambled.
No rushing yards the last week.
After this game, I keep going back to Sean Fennessy, who works here at The Ringer, our head of content. He always retweets his own tweet every time the Jets lose. The beginning of the season, before the season began, Sean tweeted, "So I have this on the record. I think this Jets season will be an epic disappointment. Everyone will be fired at its conclusion, and Aaron Rodgers will retire." And
that's why Sean's in charge.
It is. He retweets it every single week, and I think it's the funniest thing in the world.
That's why Sean's in charge. Yeah, no, he's 100% right. I have to say too, masterclass in Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, Rodgers blew the game. A lot of people blew the game. They had 10 penalties in the second half, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Breece Hall fumbled, but Breece Hall feels bad about it. When Breece Hall fumbles at the end, Breece Hall's like, you know what? If I can't hold on to the ball, I shouldn't be on the field. And he's like, this is the most trying year of my entire life. And when Aaron Rodgers screws up, he was like, yeah, if I had like not done that pick six in the end zone, like that would have been a different game. He also was like, well, there's 11 guys on the field, and sometimes it's my fault, definitely multiple times today. And then, details aren't there in some other spots too. But you're the quarterback. You threw a pick six to a fucking defensive lineman, And if you hadn't done that, they would have won the game.
After missing a wide open guy in the end zone.
He missed a wide open Garrett Wilson. He threw the pick six. He also missed Garrett Wilson down the sideline. This was honestly a terrible Rodgers game. And I actually didn't think he would find a way to deflect blame in this one. And he did. I don't know. I didn't think I could be more disgusted with this team. But again, what's the rule of thumb? It could always get worse.
I saw a stat from ESPN. The Jets, they're the first team in the Super Bowl era to be favored in 9 of their first 12 games and be 3 or 9 or worse.
Oh my God.
In fact, no other 3 and 9 team had even been favored in 8 of their first 12 games. So this is an extremely disappointing team, to put it mildly.
He doesn't look good.
Yeah.
He's just like an old man throwing darts off his back foot and yelling at people when they don't catch it. It really is the Peyton Manning SNL sketch. Like,
the whole thing is
the
Peyton
disdain on his face after every pass. Everybody must be miserable in that huddle because he's just yelling at you every single play.
At the end of the game, the head coach, who, by the way, I guess Aaron Rodgers calls him Brick, which I love. His name's like Old Brick or whatever.
Same as Woody Johnson's son, Brick.
Yeah,
a lot
Brick
of bricks
Johnson.
in that organization.
Another Brick. He was not fully committed to
non-committal,
Rodgers.
which
he was non-committal
Right.
about
But you
Aaron
never say
Rodgers
committal.
being the starter.
It's like disingenuous, genuine. It's
committal's a funny word. Like,
committal. He was not fully committal.
Anyway, they don't know if they're going to start Rodgers, is what you're saying. Because
It'd be interesting if they bench him. I don't think they will, but
they would probably win. It's Tyrod Taylor's the backup, right?
Yeah,
I really
They'd
do
win
think.
with Tyrod.
I really do think there's a serious chance, like maybe even 50% chance that Rodgers doesn't play again because he doesn't have the ego to be a backup. And I don't know if anyone will sign up for this because like the amount of he was given all the control you could possibly have. Yeah, I really think, but I think he's done. Like, I don't think he does not. He will retire because he cannot. His ego could not handle. Like, he will have to dump the NFL. He wouldn't let the NFL dump him.
100%. Where's he going to go? The Titans? That's not going to happen.
I don't think an NFL team would take him, even if he would play for anyone. I don't think anyone would take him after this.
He just gets everybody fired.
Dude, he got everyone fired. He got everything. I cannot stress enough he got everything he wanted. And they are just as bad as Zach Wilson.
Sean's
and he gave the same excuse Zach Wilson did last year. He was complaining about the win.
This is going to be an epic disappointment.
Everyone will be fired. It's so funny to me. Everyone will be fired and he will retire.
Oh my God. DK, who's another winner
Just
for
a
Sunday?
tornado through the franchise. Sorry.
Anyways, I want to give credit to Sam Darnold. I've been kind of a Darnold hater coming into the season. I'd given up on him. I was like, it's not going to work. He's just going to flame out like he always does. He's going to have a couple turnovers and then he's just going to like turn into a pumpkin. Well, he's playing pretty well right now. He isn't perfect, but I don't think we can expect him to be perfect of all people. We can't expect any quarterback to be perfect, but he has 23 touchdowns this year to 10 interceptions. He's 4th in the NFL in touchdowns. 8.2 yards per attempt, that's 5th. 102 pass rating, that's 8th. He led a game-winning drive for the 2nd straight week. Last week, it was in overtime versus Bears. This week, against a tough Cardinals defense, included a 4th down conversion, hit Aaron Jones for the decisive game-winning, or not game-winning, but go-ahead touchdown. He helped engineer a 13-point comeback for the Vikings. And I don't know, he's just like making big plays. He's hitting big throws. I just wanted to give him some credit because I came into the season kind of as a Darnold hater.
I was really big on Darnold being somewhat resurrected with the Vikings. And now that it has somewhat happened, I will admit to you guys, I was really worried he would make me look incredibly stupid. And
right.
Part of me was terrified that perhaps I was totally out over my skis and kind of a moron.
He's gonna end up getting like a Baker Mayfield type of contract next year, I think, with somebody, which honestly, like, that's risky because I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact he's playing for KOC and has Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkinson now. And obviously this is like a really, really good situation for him. But I don't know, like if he goes to a team with some good receivers, I think he could continue to resurrect his career.
Dude, McShay's friend Mensch asked me last week if I would rather have Sam Darnold or Cam Ward next offseason. And I was like, oh man.
Dude, I actually thought about that. It came to my head like, ooh, Sam Darnold on the Giants?
Dude, get out of here. Sam Darnold on the Giants?
I know. That's the thing.
They have
ironically,
they have neighbors. They have Malik Neighbors.
That is why Geno Smith, the Giants couldn't keep Geno Smith. They can't have the Jets sloppy seconds. Like, that's just, you can't do it.
There are certain
Darnold
that
needs to be
together.
he needs to be on like a nice Midwest fan base team.
Yes.
where politeness is important. Not in New York.
I
Don't
totally agree.
send him back to New York.
Yeah, Vikings 23-22 over Arizona. The Vikings, they have some.
They're like the Nick Westbrook Akine of football teams. Where it's
Yeah,
just like
they
every
are.
week they win by 2, and we all just kind of assume that they're not that good. And I don't think anyone's going to be excited to bet on them in the playoffs. And yet they're 10-2. They win every close game. They have a great defense, a lot of playmakers. But I probably put myself in that camp where I'm like, Sam Darnold playoffs. I don't care. If
Well,
they're home
I
or
agree
away.
because if
They're 10-2.
I know they're
10-2.
10-2. The Vikings are a better version of that Cardinals team that started 10-0 that we all ignored. And you remember them? It was like a fever dream. And I just refuse to acknowledge that the Arizona Cardinals are like 9 or 10-0 or whatever. And the Vikings are a little bit of that, but like with a little more fanfare. But I do look at the NFC right now as like, who are like the teams that like you think you wouldn't bat an eyelash if they made the Super Bowl? The Lions, obviously. The Eagles, who beat the Ravens today very convincingly.
Dude.
And I would say the Packers. I don't think I'd be shocked if the Packers made it. And I don't think the Vikings are in that tier, to be honest with you. I think the Vikings are the team that are good, and I don't want to play, quote unquote, don't want to play in the playoffs. But like, I don't think the Vikings are going to make the Super Bowl. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
Is that because of Darnold mainly?
Yeah. And they fumble. They've also been
Yeah.
fumbling and for 3 years. Like, I don't know why, but 3 seasons in a row, the Vikings have just like, even Aaron Jones, who's not a fumbler, has just like gone and just gotten the fumbleitis in Minnesota. There's something contagious for 3 seasons in a row about this Vikings team turning the ball over. I don't know.
They're also just cursed in the playoffs, which I'm sure is
And the
factoring.
Vikings. All the Vikings fans right now are screaming about how they're actually one of the most snake bit franchises. But I mean, they're not in the territory with the Eagles. The Eagles beat the Ravens today, 24-19. I mean, I think the Eagles might be a winner today. I mean, Saquon ran for 107 yards and a touchdown. Eagles are undefeated with AJ Brown, and I don't know, man. I mean, Saquon is Mariano Rivera. DK, you said that a few weeks ago. I can't get it out of my head. I mean,
He's their closer.
Our guy Shil Kapadia here at the Ringer tweeted this out. Saquon is averaging 7.5 yards a carry in the fourth quarter, which
It's
is
like
crazy.
every cliche about the run game is coming true with Saquon, where it's like body blows, first half, and then all of a sudden you're hitting the home runs or you're hitting the knockout punch, I should say in this metaphor. But yeah, I mean, he is so explosive, and he did it again in the second or in the fourth quarter, 25-yard touchdown run to essentially put the game away. And this was like a really fun game to watch. It was like each team was throwing haymakers back and forth. Like the Ravens had a couple times where it looked like they were going to take back control of the game. Justin Tucker just kept missing fucking kicks again. But remember what I said that Nick Sirianni doesn't matter? I'm starting to actually believe this again. In the offseason, I was like, I don't really know if Nick Sirianni matters. Basically, they've taken away all his power. He just hangs around in the facility
yells.
and like goes into meetings and says hi to everybody. Like he doesn't really do anything. He's
every week he's wearing a bigger beanie on the sideline.
It's so
he wears his beanie so low on his forehead. It's incredible.
Dude, he just points, and I will say also I saw an amazing meme of just like, it was the HR meme of like, the ugly person hits on a woman versus like a hot guy. And it was like the Eagles in 2023 being 10-2, and it was like, ugh. And it was like the Eagles in 2024 being 10-2, and it's like, hey, it's like, it's true though. It's just like you slap Saquon on it. It's like, man, the vibes. But
well, they're doing all the things that they have done in the past, but now they have Saquon, so it's like the tush push back to working really well again.
Yes,
like AJ Brown is just like he can get you a bucket on third down when you really need it. They basically buy an extra down because they can convert these short yardage plays like every fucking time. It's insane. And now they have this home run hitter guy in Barkley.
And I would say the biggest thing other than Saquon is the defense. The defense was bad last year. Their secondary was terrible. And now DeJean and Mitchell are awesome. And they're shutting everybody down. I mean, the Ravens basically scored 12 points in this game. They had like a touchdown late with like 10 seconds left that I don't really count. They basically held the Ravens to scoreless in the second half, which had not been done in Baltimore in 68 games. Like the Ravens are the most balanced team in the league right now.
And the Ravens again.
The Eagles. Sorry, Eagles.
The Ravens entering this game, their offense is on pace for the most yards per play in NFL history, which is insane. Like almost 8 yards per play. Which I mean, think about 8 yards per play on average. That's insane.
Wild.
That's almost the first down. And the Eagles totally shut them down. And to your point, Craig, Jalen Carter, who, dude, I'm a little afraid Jalen Carter's like a monster. Like the fact that they were able to get Jalen Carter.
You're afraid of him.
I'm a little afraid he's a monster.
He's kind of a monster for the Eagles defense. And again, I'm so pissed at Washington. Not only did Washington take Jaden Daniels from the Giants because we beat them twice, but Washington made the trade with the Eagles to give the Eagles Cooper DeJean, and they paired Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. And I'm like, I'm going to have to deal with this fucking defense for like 6 years.
This is, again, the Eagles are like the perfect team because I feel like I get pushback every time I give the Eagles like a good grade on all their draft grades, right? Like every year. And all these people are like, oh, the media just glazes the Eagles for every fucking thing they do. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at their PFF grades right now for their defense. Everyone's fucking green or really green. Like everyone on this defense is fucking good. Their offensive line is fucking good. Their quarterback, really good. Their receivers, really good. Like, what do you want me to do? They keep taking good players and they keep playing well. You know, they're going to continue to get good grades because of that.
I think all the time how Devonta Smith's like the second or third best college receiver I've ever seen. And he's just like this guy who kind of flashes. I don't know. Shows up like every now and then on the offense.
Solid number 2. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that guy was fucking unstoppable. Anyway, whatever. Fuck the Eagles.
Even the Eagles are also just the team, by the way, that the international pathway program or whatever, where they got Jordan Mailata. And it's like he turned into the best left tackle in the NFL.
Well, it's because
God damn it.
So let's go. Like we don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Loser of week 13 without any question to me, though, was Matt Eberflus for the Bears, the head coach. He got fired as the Bears coach on Black Friday. It's too bad because I just learned how to pronounce his name. I've been saying Matt Eberflus for like years. And now it's Matt Eberflus, but he's gone. I know it's gone. It doesn't matter now.
Yeah, now it's not anything.
And in case you were in a food coma or forgot about it, one of the worst clock managed end of game sequences ever. If you don't remember exactly what happened, Bears somehow clawed their way back into this Lions Thanksgiving game. They were getting crushed. They somehow, with a minute left, they're down 3. They have the ball on the 25-yard line. Caleb Williams takes a horrendous sack to push them back 10 yards. But they're still on the 35, so like a 52-yard field goal with 36 seconds left. And instead of taking a timeout, which they had, Caleb Williams gets up, goes no huddle, audibles, takes 30 seconds to get to the line of scrimmage, snaps the ball with 6 seconds left, tosses a go route, incomplete, uses up all the time. Game is over.
Game over.
Didn't even kick the 52-yard field goal to tie the game. They leave with the timeout in their pocket. DK, was that... We've seen some bad coaches. Was that the worst clock management you've ever seen in an NFL game?
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before in the NFL. There's been a lot of games. But like, I can't remember anything quite so egregious where they had a chance to... It reminds me of the Dak Prescott thing where that was like horrific clock management. Obviously, that was in a bigger situation than this. But like, this was like on that...
But you know what I think?
On par with that. You know what I mean?
To give context to the Dak thing, while the Dak thing was in the playoffs, this was almost twice as much time.
I know.
And they had a timeout.
Yeah. And they were like lollygagging the whole time. It was just like so weird. I obviously look, this was really bad by Caleb Williams. He should have called timeout. But the coach ultimately needs to fucking step in when he gets sacked and call timeout, because you just got sacked. Everyone's scrambling around. Like, it's total chaos. And this is exactly what happened. I don't know if it was the week before or a couple of weeks before, where Craig and we were talking about this on the show. Like, they wanted their kicker liked it from the right hash. Yeah. Everyone was a little confused. They just kind of went up there and then waited for till there was 3 seconds left and called timeout.
And they had a timeout, and they could have just gone to the right with the hash where the kicker wanted it, and they didn't do it.
And they ended up getting the kick blocked. But it was again, and I said this last week, I was like, I don't know. It felt like everyone was really confused and it was really rushed and chaotic. No one knew what was supposed to be happening. Obviously, again, that's on Caleb Williams a little bit. Obviously he's the quarterback, but look, he's a rookie. The freaking coach needs to step in here and like run the clock. Like, he has to be the guy that's in charge of this shit.
He was sacked. Yeah. Like, that's the thing about it, is like he took a horrible sack and he's getting up. It's like, you take the timeout, you have 36 seconds, and you know what? You throw a seam, you throw a slant, you throw an out, whatever. It's 3rd and 26, so you can't spike the ball. You're going to have 30 seconds to run the kicking unit on to kick a field goal. And it's like, oh, it's a little rush. Well, the play clock's only 40 seconds. You know what I mean? It's not that rushed. So I don't know. It's an insane thing. It was
just the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
Like, I get why it was. I get why they would.
Apparently in the locker room after the game, Eberflus had to like leave because the team was like gonna mutiny and throw him off the
Good.
walk the plank or whatever.
You know how they give the winning team like a turkey leg? They should give the losing team like green bean casserole. That they should have given Matt Eberflus a green bean casserole on his way out of the building. I do think Caleb deserves like 3% of the blame.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It's like, it was weird that he was like just like hanging out, audibling. Even in the post-game interview, he was like, oh yeah, you know, I audibled. I saw the clock was ticking down. So I thought, well, I guess we got to try to score. And it was like, dude, call a timeout. What the fuck are you doing?
But that's, I think all the time of like.
It's both. It's both the quarterback and the
but
coach.
It's like
but the coach is ultimately
on.
the coach. Look, it's a rookie quarterback. Like, I don't know. Obviously, look, Caleb Williams has made a couple of bonehead plays late in games, and that's something that rookies do. But like, the coach needs to fucking step in and do something. Dude, it's like he froze in the headlights or whatever.
Are you? Yeah, that's the thing with Matt Eberflus. Are you watching the game? Like you're in charge.
Doing?
It's like everyone has that moment in life where you look around, you're like, oh fuck, I'm the adult in the room.
Yeah,
like your offensive coordinator was your pass game coordinator 2 weeks ago. Your quarterback has been in the NFL for 3 months. And he's calling an audible with 18 seconds left. You're in charge, my guy. And like that is what the money's for. So look, and again, this is in the context of the Fail Mary, where Tyrique Stevenson's jawing at fans and they lose that game to Washington. And then the next week, they give up a 53-yard touchdown on a quarterback draw to the Cardinals at halftime. A running back draw. They're just like giving up. They're like, all right, tackle our running back. We'll go to halftime. He scores a touchdown. Then the next week, what you're talking about, DK, with the kicker, they don't get the hash. Like the Matt Eberflus thing in a nutshell, they couldn't solve any of the catastrophic problems with end of half and end of game situations. Like it is crazy. And then they were not able to solve this stuff.
The sack that Caleb took before the game-ending play was also horrific protection. There was no protection. He just got teed off on. The guy was untouched.
It's funny because like. That was unblocked off the right tackle. That I haven't seen anything like that in a game in a while. That was a defensive end. You know, like all the stuff they do now with like, oh, we got 6 guys and like everyone's standing up. None of that. Hand in the dirt, defensive end, off the right tackle, unblocked. That's like varsity high school stuff. You see that every now and then.
I'm
disappointed. NFL game?
I'm disappointed in the Bears that they didn't fire him sooner.
They made him off the press conference.
They made him do a presser. They made him
listen to it, and they're sitting in an office listening, and they're just like, we're making up our mind. I think that was 100%. Fuck this guy. Let's let him like hoist him by his own petard, and we're gonna make him sit out there sweat, and we'll kill him right as he comes back.
You know how Heifetz, you said ESPN had the stat of like the heaviest guy to record a pick six? What's the fastest time a coach has been fired? I would love to know that. Like how quickly a coach has been fired since the game ended.
It has to be Steve Sarkisian getting like left on the tarmac at USC, right?
Oh, okay.
Like he was
college?
literally like, he got off the plane and they fired him on the tarmac.
Yeah. If anybody knows any fun facts about how quickly a coach was fired, please email us because I'm interested in that.
I'm sure Al Davis or honestly, I bet Jim Irsay's dad, I bet Bob Irsay fired a coach like in the locker room after.
No one's ever been fired mid-game, right?
Dude, Jim Irsay's dad. This is like not me. This is like in a reported article in The Athletic where like Jim Irsay talks about his father. Bob Irsay, who owned the Colts, he moved the Colts from Baltimore to Indianapolis. He would be blackout drunk at work and fire people, and then show up the next day and be like, "Where are they?" So you fired him. He's like, "Did Seinfeld. Bring him back?" Yeah, it was the Seinfeld. Like he would like it was a crazy time. Anyway, Bears.
Yeah.
But Caleb Williams kind of did get him back in the game, though. Like, I think lost in all this is Caleb's playing better, right, DK?
I will fully admit, like, Caleb Williams, some horrific mistakes end of game, but he's also like the guy that's getting him back into these games and keeping him in these games, especially the last 2 weeks. Remember, I think it was last week or this week, we were like, I'm scared for Caleb Williams. Like, I'm actually like worried about him going into these games because the last 2 games he played the number 1 defense in the NFL by DVOA in the Vikings, and then the number 2 defense in DVOA in the Lions. These are the last 2 opponents that he had, and they had a chance to win both games. He's completed 77% of his passes in those games, almost 300 yards a game, 100 passer rating, 5 touchdowns, no picks. He also rushed for 72 yards. He's completed 10 plays of 20 plus yards. I didn't look up the third down stats, but he's been nails on third downs. He's converted some massive third downs and fourth downs. He's the QB3 in that in this 2-game stretch against the 2 best defenses in the NFL. So it's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I think a lot of it, and this is like kind of the same thing we're doing with Drake May. Like Drake May looks awesome until he throws the game losing pick or whatever. Like it's with rookie quarterbacks, I think you have to take the good with the bad. And I think Caleb Williams has done far more good over the last few weeks than bad. So I'm pretty excited. I think Bears fans should be excited about what he's shown. He's made some incredible throws against really good defenses. So yeah, obviously the late game stuff, they need to get cleaned up. And I think that will get cleaned up. But overall, man, he's looked pretty good.
The other person, I'm going to give this person my my Oppenheimer Award for the player who went nuclear. Brock Bowers, the tight end for the Raiders. Number one scorer in all of fantasy. I guess maybe Josh Allen might have just passed him, but Brock Bowers leads all players. Do you guys know that Brock Bowers leads the NFL in catches? Period.
It's wild. He's a tight end.
Not rookies, not tight ends. Brock Bowers leads the NFL in catches. He is number one in catches. He is fourth in targets, and he is fourth in yards. The leaders in receiving yards in the NFL right now is Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, and Brock Bowers. I feel like Brock Bowers is like a borderline first-round pick in fantasy next year.
Oh, yeah. He's like, dude, he's a stud. He's everything that we wanted him to be and more. We talked about this last week. I'm like, we were just too afraid of like what had happened with Kyle Pitts that we were like,
we didn't think Kyle Pitts could take more from us.
I want to go back and listen to what I was saying about Brock Bowers during the draft, like period, because I was like, I love this guy. And then remember when he dressed, like the way he dressed at the combine?
We saw that photo. He was in the Auto Trader t-shirt and he's knocked
got like standing next to Gronk. He looks small.
He's got like, like wispy, thinning
hair.
He
looked like a software engineer.
Yeah. And everyone's like, I don't know if I'm really ready to.
I love that. He's like balding. Yeah.
And dude, he's like fucking awesome. 84
I love
catches,
that we're still influenced
yards.
by shit like that. Like deep in our DNA, like we can't help but see that photo and we're like,
Yeah.
But the flip side is you see Anthony Richardson next to Bryce Young and you're like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, wait, I remember seeing them next to each other and Bryce Young looked like the last Russian nesting doll and Anthony Richardson looked like the first Russian nesting doll. And I was like, that guy's going to go before that guy? Like, that's crazy.
Dude, but yeah, Brock Bowers, he just moves different, man. He's built different. Built diff.
He's built diff. It's so over. We're so back. The Washington offense is so back. I have been pretty harsh on Cliff Kingsbury and the Cliff. And for at least 1 week, they staved it off and proved me wrong. Washington crushed the Titans 42-19. It was 28-0 very quickly. There was a point where Washington had 28 points and the Titans had 24 yards, which I don't know. Craig, can we have a word for that?
Oh, interesting. It's like okay. Give me
something.
Give me 10.
I love those stats when like a team has more points than it. Like they had 24 points at one point. The Titans had like 8 plays. Like it was pathetic.
It's like a John Brankus sports science stat, but yeah.
Washington has 28 points.
There was like something where maybe hopefully it didn't just incept me because I was like reading something else. There was one point where they had like 18 first downs and the Titans had run 16 plays.
Yeah. That's stuff like that.
Something like that. I'm like, dude, this is not going well for the Titans.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels looked awesome. He had a touchdown run where literally 7 Titans were like around him on every, looked like Neo in the Matrix, and like none of them really touched him on the way to the end zone. And he had 25 completions on 30 passes, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Washington 9 of 14 on third down. What is this team? I don't understand how this team keeps doing this on third down.
And Cliff Kingsbury even lined up Terry McLaurin on the other side of the field. McLaurin's been on the left side all year. He scored a touchdown from the right side.
Incredible.
Yeah. And the Titans even continued their weird Titan streak of like not giving up that many yards, but giving up a fuck ton of points, which because of Will Levis and Tony Pollard fumbling. So that's really funny. But yeah. So Washington is back. DK, who else is so back right now?
Anthony Richardson, I feel like
we're
is
back.
A little bit back.
No,
we're
bit
back.
We're back for a week. We're back.
Craig, you said it the best on our text chain this week. He might not be good, but boy, he's fun to watch.
Good time.
Like he's a little bit
he's
chaotic.
Fun for a night out, I'll tell you that.
I don't care, if he throws really egregious picks. The way he's running around is very fun and enjoyable to watch. The last 3 weeks, 24 designed rushes, first in the NFL. They're finally fucking doing it. Thank God. Remember at the beginning of the year, they like refused to run him and try and turn him into like a drop back passer. Obviously that might happen someday, but not happening right now. He's had 142 rush yards and 3 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks as a runner. And so Yeah, I think that's like obviously the goal here is you want him to be a Jalen Hurts type of player. Obviously, he's not Jalen Hurts, but like a guy that can really make a difference with his legs in the red zone, can be that like really dangerous weapon from inside the 5-yard line. We saw that in this game. He threw the go-ahead touchdown, or sorry, was it the tie touchdown, and then they went for 2 to win it?
Yeah.
So it was going to be, it would have been a tie.
It was a great drive.
And then they decided to go for the win. He ran it in on a keeper for the 2-point conversion to win 25-24 over the Patriots. I don't know. There was a bunch of ugly drops by his receivers. I don't know. Does he throw like a knuckleball or something? Because none of his fucking receivers, can go back to
this
Florida.
goes back.
He can't catch.
He throws at 120 miles an hour.
That too. My hands.
Dude, DK, do you remember us at the combine? He has press conference where he was like, asked, you've been said you don't throw a catchable ball. Do you think you should throw a catchable ball? And he's like, nah, if I hit in the hand, you should probably catch it.
I mean, he's
but
not
like,
wrong.
It does matter. Like, that is a thing. You are supposed to change speeds and throw different pitches. And like, that is a thing you have to learn. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't have much touch.
The drops in this game, did not look to me like it was like he was throwing too hard. Like there was a deep bomb to A.D. Mitchell, just boinked off his hands.
A.D. Mitchell, dude, A.D. Mitchell is plagued by the same disease to so many young receivers where they're like, you know what? I could catch this with 2 hands. But I'll just let it sick if I use one hand.
Glide into my body. Yeah.
They're like, oh, the cornerback kind of touched my shoulder. I'll just try with one hand. It's like, use 2 fucking hands.
It's a real firmly grasp it situation.
But yeah, dude, going back even to Florida, there's just like his receivers can't catch. It's like wild. Maybe it does have something to do with how hard.
But also, the Colts offensive line had a revolving door today. They had like a bunch of guys in different positions today. But I will say, when Richardson needs to be the best player on the field, he often is. Like even last year when he barely played any games, he had that Rams game there on 20-0, and then they came back and like I don't know, this game. Driving down, getting the touchdown, getting the 2. Also, the first touchdown he scored, where, again, it was the same. He basically becomes like Taysom Hill if he was bigger. And then, like, even just the celebration, Richardson did the 360 dunk celebration.
That's
spike.
the best.
Yeah.
That was like the most athletic thing I've ever seen on a football field. He did that so effortlessly. I'm like, damn, I could never do that in a million years. Couldn't celebrate like the guy.
It is fun. It is fun. I admit that he's still very raw, and you know, it's you're gonna have some bad games and some good games, but he's very fun to watch.
He's just good enough where the Colts are gonna have to stick with him for the next 2 to 3 years,
and they should. They should.
They should. Watching Josh Allen tonight.
I know, that's the thing.
Watching Josh Allen tonight, and you need a superhero. Like Josh Allen, like is watching Josh Allen tonight. I'm like, oh, I see why teams really love when the giant fast person like could play quarterback.
Right. Anyway, the Giants should give Sam Darnold $100 million.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it's so over. It's so over for Justin Tucker. Can you do the Trump thing? It's Justin Pucker. Call him Justin Pucker.
I call him Justin Pucker. Puckers up every time he needs to kick a kick longer than 40 yards. I can kick 40 yards.
Justice.
You got to do the accordion thing with your hands.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen many people kick 40-yard field goals much easier than Justin Pucker.
The Ravens lost to the Eagles 24-19. So the Ravens lost by 5 points. Justin Tucker missed 7 points worth of kicks in this game.
DK, I need you to read the stat. There's a great Justin Tucker stat.
Well, there's 2. First of all, this is the first time he's ever missed 3 kicks in a game. So there's that.
Yeah, an extra point and 2 field goals.
And then, hold on, let me pull
I have it. No, Doug Clawson. The Ravens' 5 losses are by a combined 22 points this season. Justin Tucker has missed 22 points worth of missed kicks in the Ravens' 5 losses.
Yeah. Dude, my intrusive thought is they should get rid of him right now. Just get rid of him.
That's my whole theory with kickers. If you need logs, and if they needed logs, Justin Tucker is no longer obviously the best kicker in the NFL. Like that's... Jesus,
dude, he's not
stating
even
the very obvious.
He should probably not be starting right now. The way he's kicking.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in the old days, like he was the exception. Where like for the most part, in my opinion, obviously this is not 100% true, but like it feels like kickers are completely just interchangeable. You could put anyone on a certain team and they'll hit whatever percentage of kicks in 1 year, and then
Jake
the next
Bates was selling bricks in Houston last year. He's the kicker for the Lions, who are the best team in the NFL right now.
Exactly. There's no elite kickers. It's just a bunch of guys who can kick, and sometimes they make them, and sometimes they don't. Get another guy that makes them. Sometimes, like Tucker just can't do it anymore. He's not the same guy as he used to be.
And he's in a slump. It's like not going to work there.
Yeah.
And maybe he goes somewhere else and it'll work. It's not going to work now. He's all fucked up.
Dude, Justin Tucker, so 2012 to 2023, he hit 90% of his field goal attempts, which was literally number one all time. And then this year, he is hitting 70% of his field goal attempts, which would be 113th all time.
I mean, he has genuinely lost them multiple games. They would have beaten the Steelers if he made his kicks.
And the tough thing is, like, as much as like, oh, like maybe he'll get going for the next. I think that's the question. How many games does Tucker have to get it right for? Like get back on the horse for him to be in the playoffs and you feel good about him kicking. I agree that John Harbaugh was asked about it.
It's just going to be a story now. I won't feel good about it ever.
Harbaugh's doing the right thing.
Be wise to get rid of him. First of all, the problem is Justin Tucker has a commercial. Like that's really what's going on here. Is Justin Tucker's got a commercial. Yeah, what is it for? It's for it's a bad commercial if I can't remember it. Oh, Kraven the Hunter. It's a movie.
He's in a Kraven the Hunter commercial?
Kraven the Hunter. And he comes into the locker room as Kraven the Hunter.
Or
whatever. And by the way, what is that movie? I actually don't want to see it now because can you imagine like having paid him and running that commercial and they're like, yeah, we got to keep running this now.
I couldn't know less about Kraven the Hunter. I know Aaron Taylor Johnson is in it and they pushed it. It was supposed to come out a while ago and they pushed it to now. I think, is it in the Marvel universe? I think, I don't know.
Kraven the Hunter's in a Marvel movie?
No, I think
Lamar Jackson.
Craven, the character, is in the Marvel.
Kai says
MCU.
yes, it is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Kai says yes, it is. They got Justin Tucker in a Marvel movie commercial. Do you know that Derrick Henry's like a Marvel character, basically? They couldn't get him. Anyway, the Monstars stole his talent, so Justin Tucker sucks now. Kraven the Hunter. All right,
I feel like that happens though. Like with kickers, they just lose it at some point.
I think that he has to change teams to get it back. I kind of think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Like if they change teams, it's not like the Ravens should have kept him if he's good. It's like he has to leave.
He should go on. Remember the Haney project and Charles Barkley went on it? It was Tiger Woods' swing coach and he like tried to fix his swing.
Yeah.
Tucker needs to go to one of those. Get his mojo back, you know? Go to like a wellness retreat, maybe a darkness retreat.
Go into the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Kick in the dark. Maybe you should put the blindfold on, you know?
Oh, like Mr. Miyagi. Put the blind, like dodgeball. LaFleur.
Yeah.
DK, any other it's so over, so back?
We're so back, and also it's so over. Kyle Pitts sucks again.
Yeah.
We retired the two tight ends who outscored Kyle Pitts in the lie category after week 8, I think. In the past 5 weeks, Kyle Pitts has scored 10.5 fantasy points.
I love this guy.
Oh my God. Okay, here's a smattering of players that have scored more points in fantasy football than Kyle Pitts over the last 5 weeks. Darnell Washington, Elijah Higgins, Drew Sample, Johnny Munt, Jordan Akins, Nick Vannett, Tanner Hudson. Shall I go on?
Yeah. Keep going.
There's a lot more.
Okay.
I'm
glad
scored
you mentioned 10 points. He had 0 points today. He played like 40% of the snaps today. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, in honor of the 0 points for Kyle Pitts today, I have brought back 2 tight ends who outscored Kyle Pitts in a line.
Yeah, great.
I think we needed to do it.
This one is actually 2 tight ends who outscored Kyle Pitts and 2 lies.
Oh,
so it's like anybody that scored a point in fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ethan Slater.
Never heard of that person.
Julian Hill.
Dolphins.
Tucker Fisk.
Oh, yeah. I know Tucker Fisk.
And Kraven the Hunter.
I think
Kraven the Hunter scored the same amount of points as Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. Isn't Ethan Slater the guy from Wicked dating Ariana Grande, or is there also an NFL player with the same name?
I thought the third one was made up.
Who's dating Ariana Grande?
Fisk is a real person. He's in the NFL.
Who's dating Ariana Grande?
Ethan Slater, I think, is the name of the guy playing Bach in Wicked, and he's dating Ariana Grande in real life.
There's a lot of
is there also an NFL player named Ethan Slater?
I mean, Slater's, I don't know, there's Rashawn Slater. So Ethan Slater, Julian Hill, Tucker Fisk. Make your picks.
Ethan Slater is fake, I think.
Okay, I'll go with Craig on this one too.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, Ethan Slater's dating Ariana Grande.
Okay.
But who the fuck is Julian Hill?
Ron's been splinched.
Ron's been splinched. Liz thinks my impression is terrible.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Listen, your
oh my
impression
God,
isn't
Jackie
good?
just texted me. She heard me from the other room. Ethan Slater, dating Ariana Grande, played SpongeBob on Broadway.
Yes, that's correct.
Good God. It all comes
And he
full circle.
outscored Kyle. Oh, no, he did. That's the lie.
No,
I got myself.
he's
For
not
the
a
same
football
amount
player. Yeah.
of Kyle Pitts. Yeah.
He couldn't be less of a football player, actually, if you look at him. No shit.
Dude, should we call Kyle Pitts that next year Craven the Hunter? Unbelievable.
He
Yeah,
played
that
on
sucks.
39% of the snaps.
Yeah.
The Falcons are like, this guy.
Well, I think he like doesn't try. I really feel that way. There's so many routes where you watch him and he's just kind of like lollygagging.
Ugh.
Yeah. I think we're approaching attitude era. Speaking of which, though, with the Falcons, I think we have to do a little farther Shart here. Like, I think DK, Kirk Cousins.
I know, man.
Had 4 interceptions in a game that Atlanta lost by 4 points. Maybe the worst game of Kirk Cousins' entire career. Was this a fart or a Shart from Kirk Cousins today? I
mean, this is a Shart. This is 3 weeks in a row where he's done absolutely nothing. He has averaged 5.7 fantasy points per game over the last 3 weeks. 3 losses for the Falcons. He is now the QB 28 on the season, just ahead of Will Levis in points per game. The Falcons offense has completely fallen apart. They've lost to the Saints, Broncos, and now the Chargers. It might be Jover for Kirk Cousins. Like, people are talking about Penix.
Yeah, baby.
And like legitimately talking about Penix.
Dude, so Raheem Morris basically ruled out playing Michael Penix this week. But Kirk Cousins, I don't know what happened to him, but like, he doesn't look healthy. He's not on the injury report. Maybe that doesn't mean anything anymore. But like, he doesn't look healthy. He made mental mistakes too. Like, he threw 2 interceptions in triple coverage, 1 interception in the end zone. He threw the pick 6, which was it looked like it was
worst
slow
pick
motion.
6. That was like a Madden level pick 6 where you're like forcing a play on
Yeah.
expert mode.
I've never seen a ball travel so slowly.
Well, there's no juice on the pass,
It didn't
dude.
look like
no
physically
juice.
possible.
No juice.
Hayden Winks tweeted this out, and he said Kirk Cousins became the first quarterback in the Next Gen Stats era to not throw a pass over 36 miles an hour in a game.
Oh, really?
And I thought
I didn't
about
know they
that.
measured that.
I didn't
I didn't know they measured it either. Now that I think about it, I hope Hayden
That's
didn't make
wild.
that up as a joke. I assume he did not. But I thought about
36
that. 36 is a funny number. You know why? Leonard Williams.
So slow.
Leonard Williams on the interception return ran 18 miles an hour.
Right.
And so I was thinking about Craig's argument with his friend Chris about, could you outrun a bee in a tube? Could a person outrun a bee in a tube? And I was thinking how funny it was that Kirk Cousins' passes today, none of them were twice as fast as Leonard Williams running that pick 6 back.
Wow. Yeah, I remember watching that and I'm like, man, it looks like that pass is in slow motion and the guy just jumped it easily, like the most easy pick 6 you could imagine.
It feels like Kirk Cousins' destiny is they bench him for Michael Penix. Michael Penix plays great. They make the playoffs. Penix gets hurt because he's injury prone, and Kirk comes back in, saves the day. They win a couple games with Kirk. That is what they should be doing right
So
now.
they do with Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson. You do that to Kirk Cousins. You bench him, and then he comes back and he's good now.
Yeah, you slash Kirk's tire so that he gets in an accident, and then Penix can come in like they did with Andy Dalton. That was clearly an inside job.
Do you guys think that the car accident with Andy Dalton, do you think that was like staged?
Inside job?
Yeah, inside job. Do you think the Panthers crashed his car?
I would not put anything above Tepper or below. What is the word? What's the expression?
Anything more like David Tamper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tampering. Yeah.
DK, what word were you trying to find?
I wouldn't put anything
past him.
You wouldn't put past David Tepper.
I said above, and I'm like, okay, I'm losing.
Committal.
Committal. Yeah, you got to committal David Tepper.
Can we run through this Andy Dalton thing real quick? Because I had this written down for intrusive thoughts, but basically at one point today, I was like, thank God Andy Dalton got in that car accident. Obviously, feel good that his family is okay. No one was seriously injured. Mm-hmm. But here's a quick recap of how everything went down with the Panthers this year. Bryce Young, truly horrific to start the season. They bench him. I think it was after 2 games or 3 games, and went to Andy Dalton. Panthers got their asses kicked by the Commanders in Week 7, 40-7. Dave Canales, the head coach, came out after the game and said they were sticking with Dalton as the starter nonetheless. All-time low moment for Bryce Young, I would think. Maybe getting benched was lower, but like, basically, there was no hope Andy Dalton was not helping whatsoever. This team was going nowhere. They were still getting their asses kicked. And the head coach came out and said, yeah, we're still playing Andy Dalton after that game. Tuesday of that week, Andy Dalton and his family got into a car accident. Dalton sprained his thumb in the accident, so the team begrudgingly had to go back to Bryce Young. And since taking over, Bryce Young, he is the QB 22 in fantasy, which is like fine, whatever. But he's like he looks like a professional NFL quarterback. Like he looks like the future of this team. And I think there was a report today that said they weren't going to. The Panthers are not thinking about taking a quarterback next year. Like they want to stick with Bryce and kind of see where this goes. He's thrown 6 touchdowns to 3 picks. He has a 93 passer rating. He's looked really good. If you compare the numbers to Bryce to CJ Stroud since week 8 in the last like 5 or 6 weeks or whatever, it's like he's outplaying Stroud. Like his stats are all way better than Stroud's.
Dude, that was my intrusive thought this week was Bryce Young looks better than Stroud.
Was he the right
an intrusive thought.
This is wild. This is wild. And the only reason this is happening is because Andy Dalton got in a car crash.
In a car crash.
Yeah. I will say
this who hit him? Was it
this
Denver?
is an all-time win.
It's kind of like a low-stakes Princess Diana situation, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Low-stakes Princess Diana. That's good. This is an all-time William Goldman, nobody knows anything turnaround from Bryce Young. Because literally, it's not even like the people outside this building didn't believe in us and we did. No. The people inside that building did not believe Bryce Young had this.
They were like, this guy sucks.
Hence, they benched him. And like literally, they were forced to play him. If you made a reel of like 20 plays of like what are the best 20 plays, not highlights, but just the best 20 throws, whatever, of Bryce Young's NFL career so far, 19 of them are from the last 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like easily.
He looks better than the stats even suggest. Like if you actually watch him, he just looks really competent out there. He just looks like a guy who should be starting in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. I remember, like I said this last week. I'm like, oh, this is the guy. Watching him play, I was like, oh, this is the guy that I ranked really highly, and a lot of people had as like the number 1 player in the draft. Obviously, the Panthers did too. And in the last year, it's been like, man, like what were we seeing? Like, I think there was like a lot of questioning, like, oh, a guy this size could clearly never work in the NFL, but like he is playing like I think everyone expected him to play now, and that's really, really encouraging for the Panthers. And by the way, I don't even think the Panthers like receivers are very good. Like Adam Thielen made a couple of insane catches today. Including one that got overturned or not overturned, but it was like not called a touchdown. And then I guess they didn't have conclusive evidence that it was a touchdown, even though it looked like a touchdown.
And then he had the most incredible one-handed 4th down catch in overtime that basically would have won them the game. And then Chuba Hubbard fumbles the ball and ruined everything.
Right.
But
like obviously Xavier Leggett, he has a ton of potential. He's super athletic, explosive guy, but like, I don't know. He had a couple drops, I felt like, in this game. He's still coming along. They don't even have like a good offensive system around him, and he's still playing really well. So that's got to be like so encouraging for Panthers fans right now, because maybe he is the future of this team. I don't know. Like, I think there's definitely like it's well within the realm of possibility now that he's like the long-term starter for them.
Got me feeling, or any other Florida shirts?
I think Kirk is like the one big Shart.
I think it's a Shart. Big Shart from Kirk. Falcons are first place in the NFC South at 6-6. They would be in 4th place in the NFC North. I think that's so funny to me.
I just want to see Penix. Unzip the Penix.
What?
I've just been seeing a lot of memes about like bring out the Penix. And it's kind of
Adam Levitage. Adam established the run who tweeted out
the Riley Reid. No one wants to say it. It was Riley Reid. All right. We all know who it is.
I don't know who that is.
Stop pretending like you don't know who Riley Reid is.
Genuinely don't know what you're talking about.
Sure.
I don't know who that is.
The Riley Reid meme. What is it? What was it? Put in the Penix?
Put in Penix? Yeah.
Put in Penix.
Release the Penix.
Oh my God. Anyway, what else?
Do you think the No Context Ringer fantasy football memes guy is going to have that as one of the photos?
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Got me feeling nicey, other than Riley Reid. Got me feeling nicey. Dude, Drake May. Drake May played amazing today for the Patriots. He continues his run of a perfect Patriots game, which is Drake May looks awesome, and then the Patriots lose.
Right.
Yep.
Which, for my money, is great. The Patriots, 25-24, the Colts beat them. And again, beat them on the last play and like the 2-point conversion. Perfect. Drake May, 24 of 30 passes he completed, 238 yards, touchdown pick. The pick was like, I mean, it should have been a second touchdown. It was Hunter Henry in his hands. It bobbled out. It was crazy. But Drake May, not in the same stylistically as Bryce Young, But similarly, when you watch him, he's always way more impressive than the box score. Like he is late. Like, frankly, Drake May looks like he will be like 80% of Josh Allen. Like the way he stands in the pocket, the way he scrambles, he's not as good of a runner as Josh Allen. He doesn't have as much of the laser. He doesn't have quite the same energy, but he's kind of got like a good Kirkland brand version of it where it's like, I could see him competing with Josh Allen for the next 5 years. Like, obviously right now the team sucks and he's a rookie.
He reminds me of Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I think he could be like a Herbert type of player. Hopefully not in a derogatory sense, because I think some people are still, I don't know, not sold on Herbert because of big games and all that. But yeah, man, he's big, powerful. He's got a howitzer arm. He runs around. He's like a really good scrambler. He's like been way better as a runner, I think, than anyone expected.
Like Jaden Daniels, like I'm impressed with his ability to like keep his eyes downfield, even when there's like pressure all around him because the Pats line sucks. Also, DK, I'm curious, watching this game with Richardson not having the touch of, just like all he's got is RPG. I was actually just, I was very surprised to see like Drake May really does have touch. That really, maybe it's just because Anthony Richardson is 0, but it really stood out to me today.
Yeah. It's just the comparison or whatever. Yeah, I mean, he can layer a pass. Like, I think there's still mechanical stuff with like his footwork every once in a while. It gets a little wonky, but yeah, he can layer a pass. He's got good touch down the field. He's obviously got the arm strength. And very encouraged with, I honestly like all these rookie quarterbacks. We haven't talked about Jaden Daniels that much today, but he's looked awesome as well. And
I mean, Drake May's only played 8 games. Like I gotta say, for only playing 8 games, this guy has developed pretty quickly. And for how shitty of a team he's on with the offensive line, the lack of receivers, he's doing a lot with a little already.
Yeah.
Right now, like if you look at this rookie class, like obviously Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, people I think are feeling pretty good about these 3 guys. JG McCarthy coming back next year, I think he's kind of been a forgotten man because he obviously got hurt and is not playing. But like in that offense, that Vikings offense that's resurrected Sam Darnold, I'm like super excited to see what he can do next year. Obviously, Michael Penix.
Yeah,
I think Penix is going to be really good too.
If we get 5 new, like pretty good starters out of this draft class, that would be incredible. It'd be so good for the NFL.
6.
Wait, who am I missing? Oh, Bo Nix, obviously. Bo Nix has been, sorry, Broncos fans are just going to like want to throttle me, but like, Bo Nix has also been extremely impressive, like, QB8 or something like that.
Dude, Broncos fans are going to kill us.
Obviously, look, I forgot because he didn't play today. He's playing
they're
tomorrow.
playing Monday night. Give us a break. Give
me a break. I feel like I've been pretty complimentary of him lately. Like, he's looked really good. He plays really clean football. He runs around. He's dangerous in the red zone. I mean, obviously, he's like turning Cortland. He's like, he has an awesome connection with Cortland Sutton. Like, it's all good. Like, I don't know, this whole class, 6 starters, potentially 6 starters. That'd be amazing.
Greg, who else
sorry
has got
for freeing Knicks.
No, it's okay. You're just going to get killed. Craig, who else has got you feeling nicey?
Bucky Irving, the running back for the Buccaneers, aptly named. 150 yards rushing today. Really pissed me off. I was going out against Rachaad White in fantasy, and for some reason at the end of the game in overtime, they decided to just kill the clock with Rachaad White.
Yeah, what was that about?
Not the like stud running back that they just drafted, who's been amazing and they finally unleashed all year. But yeah, I feel like Bucky is kind of a under the radar guy who has broken through this season, and today was like his real coming out party. Now, I think if you had to kind of rank all the running backs for the rest of the season, I think Bucky Irving is like a top 15 guy going forward now, and
a debutant, if you will.
Ooh, yeah, a late season debutant.
Can I ask you guys a question? If Bucky Irving, like, if you were gonna rank where Bucky Irving should go in drafts next year, like, all right, like, don't give me the right answer. What was your first thought? I don't want like the actual accurate answer.
3rd round,
third round.
I was thinking
if Bucky Irving had been drafted like 25th in the first round, wouldn't you be like, oh yeah, Bucky Irving's the first rounder?
Definitely.
Like the only what you've seen from the Tampa Bay offense and Bucky Irving, if he had been a first rounder, you'd be like, oh, I'll take him 10th.
Yeah,
but he was like
correct.
He a 4th rounder, so I'll take him. Like, we need to remember that. Like, he really is a perfectly fine 2nd round pick in fantasy.
He genuinely looks fantastic. Like, if you just changed his jersey and put whatever Jonathan Taylor's jersey on him, and I watched it, I'd be like, oh yeah, of course, this is one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah, he's
the perfect example of, I don't know, like the guys that slip through the cracks in the NFL draft because of height, weight, speed. You know what I mean? Like, every year there's a couple of guys that are just really good at football and they put up stats and everything, but like they just bomb when it comes to like the height, weight, speed stuff. Like I remember watching him early on in the draft process last year. I was like, oh, I really like this guy. He's really elusive. He catches a ton of passes. Like he's making guys miss. Like he's turning guys around and when he's running and all this stuff. I really liked him. And then he's really light and really slow. And I'm like, there's just not a lot of guys in the NFL who are small and slow and really good. You know what I mean? There's like the old guy for the Patriots, Dion, what's his face? I totally blanked.
Dion Lewis.
Dion Lewis is like a good example of like a really slow, small guy who is like awesome. But it's just like so rare in the NFL. You have a small, slow guy that is really good at running back.
His timing's impeccable.
So I kind of like, I really regret it, but I was kind of just like, I pushed him down my rankings. I'm just like, you know, like this archetype of player just doesn't work out very often. Even though he was really good, obviously he was awesome at Oregon, incredible stats at Oregon. He was like one of the top pass catchers in college football at the running back position, or at least in his class. And like, we're seeing all that in the NFL. He's like awesome.
It's a big couple of weeks for small, slow rookies.
Yeah.
All right. Intrusive thoughts. My intrusive thought this week. I love brawls.
Is that an intrusive thought? Who doesn't love brawls?
I don't know, but I guess more specifically, like maybe this was Apex Mountain for brawls. Specifically,
it's just
like
bloodthirsty.
I loved the college football weekend of when all these all the visiting teams are kicking the shit out of the rival teams and like they're planting the flags at midfield. Mm-hmm. And then the home guys who just lost run in and like kick the shit out of those people. And they take the flag and they rip up the flag and they basically like fight the people. And I watched all these. I mean, it happened in, I mean, Michigan, Ohio State, NC State, UNC, Florida State, all with just flag plant brawls. Every single time I was like, yeah, fuck those guys. Like, I love when the home field team is like, fuck you. Like, dude, Arizona State, did you see this? Arizona State was at Arizona. They put their Sun Devil Trident into the end zone, and then someone came and they were like fighting over the trident like it was Anchorman. They're like ripping the trident from each other, and I was like, "This is incredible."
Brick killed a man. Yeah, it's
why college football is better than the NFL. It's like it's like two teams who have no shot of winning the title. This is all that matters to them, and they're willing to get like getting a massive brawl over a random win. It's the best.
Ryan Day is just like standing around, and the Ohio State captain's like, "There can't do that to our field again." I'm like, hell yeah, man.
I don't know. I'm kind of like, dude, well, if you don't want to have that habit, just win.
I mean,
that's kind of my take on the whole thing. I'm like, you know what? Maybe you should win the game next time.
I think a lot of people feel that
way.
Yeah.
Especially about Ryan Day. All right. What are you guys' intrusive thoughts?
I just think Ladd McConkey's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. Straight up. I just think if I could have one, I'd rather have Ladd.
I totally agree.
Like,
when are we going to have the Marvin Harrison?
Harrison, he had a touchdown today, and he salvaged it, and he looked, and he had like
who cares?
A couple of big catches.
He doesn't.
Who cares?
He's not.
I don't care.
No.
I don't care that he had a really cool touchdown.
It was a fine touchdown. He had a normal day. He is not essential to the offense.
No, he's not.
Brock Bowers is kind of overshadowing what Ladd is doing almost a little bit, because obviously the entire Raiders offense is circling around Brock and is completely dependent on Brock. I think you could make the same case for what LA is doing. Like, there's nothing going on in the Chargers now, even especially since J.K. Dobbins went down. Like, this entire offense like fully relies on this rookie second rounder, Ladd McConkey, and they're 8-4. And over the second half of the season, since week 8, like Ladd McConkey is 7th in the NFL in receiving yards per game. He's
dude. They had
very, very good.
They had 115 passing yards at halftime. The Chargers did. 105 of the 115 were to Ladd McConkey.
He is incredibly crucial to their offense. And to me, I'm like, I think Trey McBride is more crucial than Marvin Harrison. I would argue James Conner, honestly, is like more important to the offense than Marvin Harrison. And meanwhile, Ladd McConkey's out here like deciding games and putting the entire team on his back every week.
He got hurt today. I don't know if you saw that. He has a knee injury. Didn't come back in, I think. And so there's a little bit of concern there, but
he had like 8 catches for 120 yards.
I'm not saying Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bust, but right now he's certainly closer to Kyle Pitts than Brock Bowers. That's all.
He's not a bust, but he's definitely a massive disappointment. I'd say that's like a fair thing to say.
Thank God.
No,
sure.
dude, what are you talking about? Bust? Like
I didn't say it's a bust. It's December. There's no such thing as a bust of Ricky. I'm just saying.
There is absolutely a such thing as a bust.
He was the highest.
Bryce Young was a bust last year. Come on.
Marvin Harrison Jr.'s had kind of a nightmare season for when it's relative to the hype that was around him. But like, it's not like he's bad. He's starting. He's playing. He's catching lots of passes. He had a touchdown today. Like, I don't know. We need to get it. We need to get.
I mean, you called him a massive disappointment like 20 seconds ago.
Yes, because everyone thought he was going to be like the next fucking coming of Marvin Harrison Sr.
Yeah, well, this conversation's my massive disappointment.
Yeah, but you were using the term bust. I'm just fighting back against the term bust.
I said he was not a bust. I said he was not a bust. You freaked out because I used the word. I said he's not a bust.
Don't use the word around me. How dare you, sir?
Keep that name.
Yeah. Let's be clear. You're the one
in the middle of my field.
You're the one who's not supposed to use the word bust around me. Let's get that.
Yeah, I like.
Let's all stop using the word bust. Okay,
we're all going to stop. We're all going to stop. No one is allowed to bust.
There's been too much Penix talk.
Play of the day. I mean, the play of the day was the Amari Cooper lateral to Josh Allen where he caught his touchdown that he threw. That was unbelievable. Craig, will you announce that as Gus Johnson?
Well,
hold on, we got to explain.
The Gus Johnson interception.
The Gus Johnson interception was one of the best announcing moments in the history of sports. I think. I don't know what happened to that man. It's like all oxygen was sucked out of his lungs, and he still had to go on.
You know what I thought? Okay, first of all, I thought it sounded exactly like someone. Have you ever eaten a beignet?
Yeah.
If you're eating a beignet and you're inhaling as you eat it, like you inhale the powdered sugar.
The
and you
cinnamon challenge.
Yeah. It's like you inhale it and you choke on the powdered sugar. It sounded like he was eating a beignet when the interception happened.
Wait, Kai,
and inhaled the fucking
play
powder.
The Gus Johnson, Kai. Play it.
Warren looking, and it's intercepted at the goal line. Unbelievable! Wow, Jack Sawyer, the hero, Captain Jack,
Captain Jack,
the hero.
So if he were to do that, it would have been Josh Allen in the pocket, hits Cooper on the outside, and he laterals to Allen. Oh my God, he gets in for the end zone. The hero.
The hero.
He's in the snow.
Eating a beignet.
Oh my God, the hero.
It's intercepted.
It's like a bug flew into his throat.
Unbelievable.
Kai, play it again.
Warren looking, and it's intercepted at the goal line. Unbelievable! Wow, Jack Sawyer, the hero. Wow, Captain Jack Sawyer.
Oh my God!
I love when he goes, looking, it's intercepted.
Oh my God! I'm crying.
The hero.
Oh my God, the
Looking, it's intercepted. Oh God, he's the best.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
I'm truly like crying right now.
All right. Well, nothing can compete with that. Worst play of the day. I mean, Laviska Shenault pick a play with DK. What do you think was the worst play Laviska Shenault made today? Was it the first time he fumbled the kickoff, the second time he fumbled the kickoff, or the third time he fumbled the kickoff?
I thought I was watching like a red zone replay, and I was like, are these new plays?
That's true. Sometimes the game breaks, that you see Richardson scoring a touchdown.
I can't tell if this is live.
What is going on?
He did the thing. I know I bring this up all the time. He did the thing where he he bobbles his phone and ends up booting it like 100 feet. You know what I mean? Like he just he caught the kick, ran with it for a while, then all of a sudden it was just flying forward like 30 yards.
Dude,
what are you doing?
I'm just saying. I think there was like a special team Space Jam situation because between Laviska Shenault and Justin Tucker, like it really feels like they both had their powers taken from them.
Yeah.
Like they literally, it's like there's they got someone is in their bodies that's not an NFL player because that's what it looks like right now.
God, that was tough.
The worst play of the day. I mean, dude, the Trevor Lawrence getting knocked out by Azeez Al-Shaair on the Texans. That was an absolutely brutal play. That was
talk
the
about
worst play of the day.
Talk about a brawl afterwards.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
My worst referee moment, it's not their fault because this is the rule, but I just think it's stupid that the penalty for the retaliation of knocking out a quarterback on an awful play offsets the play itself. Like it's just offsetting penalties. They kill your quarterback and you defend him and the penalty's offset.
Yeah, I'm surprised of all the things that like New York it gets in their ear about of just saying like, oh yeah, hey refs do this or that. They're like, yeah, maybe call that penalty on the Texans.
Make it a personal foul or something, so it's an automatic gain for the Jags, and then like the stuff afterwards can be offsetting. Both sides fought each other, but the actual the Shire hit should be enforced no matter what.
That was the harshest hit in years.
Dude, he's the same guy who punched, was it Roshan Johnson when he wasn't even on the field? He wasn't even like in the play, and he punched him in the face.
Someone said to me casually the other day that there's never been a normal linebacker, and I can't stop thinking about that. Like, there's no normal linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, their job is to like be a missile.
But but Trevor Lawrence, I mean, that was horrific. Like, he went into the fencing pose, and like it's.
I always get really scared for like the person who got hit when the fight is going on right around them.
Oh, I know.
Yes,
that was the worst
that
part.
was freaky.
I was like, dude, everybody, there's like one lineman trying to protect him from this like massive mutiny.
Mob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lawrence had like the fencing posture
Dude,
or whatever right away.
You know how fucked up football is? We were watching that, and then Jackie's like, wait, so if he's fencing, why aren't his fingers moving? And I'm like, well, no, that's only for Tua. And I'm like explaining how fencing works. And I'm like, what the fuck is the sport we do?
Ghoulish sport. Yeah.
Yeah, ghoulish. It was a ghoulish sport and a ghoulish play. Honestly, like he looked like he got hit by a car. Like it was disgusting. And you know, it's almost weird to see him like upright on a golf cart after that. But like,
yeah, he was moving. He tweeted after the game that he's doing all right. But man,
yeah.
I think they did they eject Jags players as well? Because I know Shire got ejected. Did they eject Jags players?
I'm sure the ghosts are screaming. I don't remember. I'll show you.
I think they did, and that annoyed me too. I just think it's all, I don't know.
At this point, it's just to restore order. I mean, Alshair's going to get. I mean, that's
probably
not just going to be a fine. He's going to get
point.
suspended.
Yeah.
Honestly, they might just suspend him like the rest of the regular season, or at least a couple games. But no, that was brutal. That was horrific. It's crazy because like 20 years ago, that would have been on like Jacked Up on ESPN.
we did the rewatchables a few weeks ago with Bill and Van on the movie The Replacements, the Keanu Reeves football movie, and there's like a lot of stuff that hasn't aged well, but one is like, you know, the types of hits and these guys getting concussed and whatever. And we made a breakout about how literally in 2001, when that movie came out, it was like the coolest thing in the world to watch dudes just get their heads knocked off. And it would like, you know, they'd be like Sports Center compilations, like this guy got jacked up and he's like the ground fencing and everyone's like jacked up.
I'll never forget like Jeremiah Trotter annihilating Reggie Bush on like a Drew Brees hanging swing pass. And like, I felt like Reggie Bush's whole career changed. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, it just, you know, it's crazy.
Jerry and Jones, the corner for the Jags, got ejected.
Yeah.
An eye for an eye.
I don't know. Ingram might have gotten ejected too, because Ingram
hit him first, hit Shire right after the Lawrence hit.
It was weird to watch the linemen like be so mad going to get Alshair that they like were fighting over Lawrence. It was the whole thing was honestly, it was like barbaric. It was crazy. But yeah. That brawl was less cool, but more deserving.
Right. You like that brawl too?
That's the brawl Heifetz like.
I did like the brawl, and then I was like, yeah, fucking get them.
I do love
honestly,
watching.
It was like, yeah, get his ass.
I love watching offensive linemen defend their quarterbacks. That is like one of the purest forms
and
of like
Evan
loyalty
Ingram,
in
like
sports.
everyone was giving props to Evan Ingram.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Dude, offensive line is the only position in any sport where your only job is to protect your teammates.
Yeah.
And there's something about watching it. It's like a herd of like buffalo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you're going to fuck your ass up.
Herd of buffalo.
It is. Like, you don't fuck with them.
Protect the young.
Yeah. All right. Arthur Smith Award, coach that pissed you off. I mean, this is Eberflus. We hit this earlier. I mean, I guess this is like the former coach who pissed you off.
Yeah. Unforgivable. This is unforgivable.
But yeah, the Eberflus thing, I mean, again, it's absolute shortest of short lists. Also, because it's Thanksgiving, it's going to get talked about every year.
Yeah. It's the first time the Bears have fired a coach midseason ever.
Yeah. The only other thing, Craig, I thought of you when this happened was that the Washington had Jaden Daniels in the game with 2 minutes left, up 30 points. I was thinking of you.
I don't get it. Even if he's handing the ball off, I don't get it. It was 42-19 or something. Even today in the Sunday night game, Brock Purdy was in pretty late. They brought everybody back out, and I was like, this feels pointed from Shanahan. Like, you're gonna fucking play.
You get back in there.
Yeah. You're going to smoke the whole pack of cigarettes. Put the bar.
I thought he brought Dobbs in. He brought Josh Dobbs in.
But there was like 5 minutes left. It was 35-10 in a blizzard. And they like brought him back out and they went 3 and out. And I was like, why is he in this game?
It's the playing version of like the story of your friend Chris deciding he was going to go like impotent or impotent for the rest of his life. It's like, you spend all week being like, we're going to win. And then it's like in the middle of it, you're like, you're going to lose. And it's like, it's kind of hard to accept. Easier for us. Worst ref moment we mentioned. I mean, all the Lawrence thing with the offsetting flags and everything. Craig, you did text us. Why don't refs call illegal formation plays dead? And I couldn't stop thinking about that all day.
Yeah, they just let the plays happen. No matter what, it'll just be a penalty. There's nothing the offense can get except for losing 5 yards. But then I thought,
is it because they want to give the defense a chance to get a turnover?
Maybe. But my thinking was they would imagine if they got it wrong. Imagine if they blew an illegal formation dead and it wasn't illegal formation in like a crucial point of the game. So maybe they just let it go. I don't know.
Well, I guess the only things they really blow dead are false starts.
Right.
And then an offsides, if the offsides is like, unabated to the quarterback and you're like, you're going to get them.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's just like, and my only thought was like, if the refs stopped the play, called illegal formation, and then they found out it wasn't illegal formation, that'd be a big deal. That'd be like
I think it's for the defense. I think it's the assumption that like if the defense gets a sack, they're like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I guess.
Lucille Bluth, I don't understand the stat line. I won't respond to it. Award. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has 7 touchdowns now in his last 8 games. This motherfucker.
He got 2 today.
He has 8 in 8 games.
Oh, 8 in 8 games.
Yeah.
He has 2 more today.
Yeah.
So
what is this guy's deal?
Wait, he had 2 today?
He did.
Oh no! Wait, does that mess up my cool stat I had? How many did he have? 2 catches?
He had 3, I believe.
Okay, yeah, 3 catches. Okay, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches. So I have an announcement. That is the most. So if you just look at players with 20 or fewer catches in an 8-game span, no one has ever had more touchdowns on 20 or few catches in any 8-game span in NFL history than Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. It is the most ever.
He's 4th in the NFL right now in touchdowns. Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown are the only 3 guys that have more touchdowns.
Dude, he has 20 catches on the entire season, and 8 of them are like
all he does is fucking score touchdowns.
That would be a lot. Like for reference, if you had 20 catches and 8 of them were first downs, that would be kind of a lot.
This ties nicely with my Lucille Bluth stat, which is that Trey McBride still doesn't have a touchdown this year, everybody.
Can't buy this guy a touchdown.
Trey McBride is on pace for 112 catches, and he's got 0 touchdowns.
He has a rushing touchdown.
Over the last 20 seasons.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, he has a rushing touchdown. Over the last 20 seasons, only one other pass catcher has caught more than 70 passes without a touchdown. And I think we all know who that is, right? Do you remember that season?
I was thinking about Trey McBride's rushing touchdown. I wasn't listening.
Over the last 20 seasons, there's only been one other guy who's had more than 70 catches without a touchdown in a season.
Oh, Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson in 2022.
Yeah.
And he had 86 in 17 games. Trey McBride is already has 73. He's the tight end 3 on the season. He doesn't have a touchdown.
That's why weirdly we were talking about him like he's
crazy.
almost like a buy low because he's like Trey McBride. It's like he's clearly the number 1 tight. Him and Bowers are like so head and shoulders above everyone else at the position.
It's just I just can't. He's 3rd in catches and 2nd in yards in the league at tight end, and he's no touchdowns. It's wild.
It's insane.
He's like 12 catches a game.
Josh Allen has more receiving touchdowns than him. Barnwell tweeted that.
Marvin Harrison has 7 touchdowns, by the way. Trying to call him a bust.
How many yards do you have? Like 500?
I literally play the tape. I said, I'm not calling him a bust. And Dickie's like, did you call him a bust?
I'm just kidding. I'm sure that's correct.
Honestly, what sucks is like he's fine.
But no. The funniest part of the whole thing is you were like, he's not a bust. He's just a massive disappointment.
Relative to expectation.
What is the definition of a bust? Isn't that
I know. That's what I was going to
disappointment?
say. That was DK's words. He's not a bust. He's just a massive disappointment. Anyway, the stat I saw that just blew my mind this week. Shout out Brian Howell who tweeted this. This is college. Travis Hunter for Colorado, became the first player in Colorado history with over 1,000 yards on offense and 4 interceptions on defense since Byron Whizzer White in 1937. This is the dude who won the Heisman.
He's like a Supreme
football.
Court justice.
Yeah, went to the NFL, played in the NFL, went to World War II, won like the Iron Cross, came back, became a Supreme Court
Iron
justice.
Cross? No,
The Iron Cross? No, what am I thinking?
That's a Nazi thing.
Oh, shit.
Well, it's a German.
No, yeah, I
award.
meant the fuck. I meant the...
He might have gotten an Iron Cross.
Wow, is Whizzer White a
off a dead
traitor? I don't
body.
know.
Took one back. Yeah, no.
It's crazy
no,
how much these dudes' names come up. Like every 2
I know,
weeks,
it's
it's like
like-
Cloyce Box pops up, Whizzer White,
Dude.
Milk Plum.
Milk.
Tungsten Armo Doyle. Yeah.
It does feel like ever since we've talked about any of these fucking weird guys with the weird names, they just continually to like pop up on all these stats.
Who was the guy who stood on the
Shipwreck Kelly. Shipwreck. He wasn't even a Supreme Court justice, though. He was just like,
Whizzer White. We spent like
Just
30 minutes
killing
talking
Nazis.
about Whizzer White.
Whizzer White, Supreme Court justice. That was Supreme Court justice. I found Whizzer White because I was trying to find if anyone had more carries with negative yards and some Derrick Henry search. I was like, who the fuck is Whizzer White? Anyway. Also, I did a triple take today. I saw Eddie Pinheiro is now the most accurate kicker in NFL history. What are we doing?
Whoa.
Eddie
that right?
Pinheiro's played for the Bears, Jets, and Panthers. You're telling me he's the most accurate
See,
kicker
DK,
ever?
this is what
I'm
DK's
talking
saying.
about.
Like it's just like
They're
Eddie-
interchangeable.
You could have given me, I cover the NFL. If you had given me 50 guesses of who's the most accurate kicker in NFL history, I wouldn't have gotten that right.
Every kicker in NFL history is really good until they're bad. And then every other one is really bad until they're good. It just like there's no rhyme or reason. Just pick some random kicker. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who your kicker is.
All right.
I'm sorry.
On that note, so burn book. Last week we burned Marvin Harrison Jr., the burn book in chronological order. Deshaun Watson, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Swift, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Travis Etienne, Mahomes, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, DJ Moore, Debo, now Marvin Harrison Jr. I kind of think Justin Tucker should go in the burn book because you know what? If you have him, you probably drafted him like weirdly high. And now you got to cut him. And that's kind of sad.
I respectfully disagree. The person we should burn is 100% CJ Stroud, and I can't believe we haven't done
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, I take it back. And
C-
Tank Dell.
CJ
No, it's-
Stroud and Tank Dell.
Tank Dell.
Oh my God, Tank Dell.
Tank Dell
have-
can die in a fire.
God.
Sorry, I don't
Wow,
mean that. I
Jesus
don't mean that. I don't mean
Christ.
that. I don't mean that.
What the fuck? Talk
I've
about
started
intrusive
that
thoughts.
dude every
was an
fucking week
intrusive
this
thought.
year. Like you're playing the Jags. Like if there's any time to do it, it's right now. He had one catch. For
Dude,
20
I
yards.
actually think you should cut Tank Dell and probably Stroud too, because, like, I mean, again, if they can't do that, if they can't play well against the Jags, this was their best matchup of the season.
Worst thing
I mean,
is they won. They keep
I know.
reinforcing this terrible process.
But they're playing Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens. Maybe that Ravens game on Christmas will be a shootout. But here's my thing: if you make it that far, you're in a championship or for the toilet bowl. Are you gonna put your toilet? Are you gonna spend your Christmas hoping CJ Stroud or Tank Dell have their best game of the season on Christmas?
CJ Stroud, dude. CJ
No,
Stroud.
do it like you ate a beignet.
CJ Stroud. Dude, CJ Stroud is the quarterback 26. He is the 26th best quarterback in fantasy football this year.
Bryce Young outplaying him over the last 6 weeks.
Aaron Rodgers is outplaying him.
If one of us had said on the Take Purge that we think Bryce Young will be better than CJ Stroud by the end of the year, we would have been like, that's a little too far for the
I
Take
know.
Purge.
Like, come on.
Like, you don't mean that.
It's remarkable the streak of mediocrity that CJ Stroud has been on this season. Genuinely.
I think
he
he's a
scored,
huge buy low next year. They're going to fire Slowick. They're going to get a real coordinator, and they're going to be really good.
I don't
Dude,
know.
probably
It's like the Herbert thing.
I'm starting to worry it's D'Amico Ryan's fault that they have this style of
Probably
offense.
defensive coach, maybe, but
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know. It is.
he watches the
yeah.
games.
Whatever.
we're
I still
burning-
think he's good, but yes, I think we need.
Yeah,
to burn
Stroud
CJ
and Dell. Tank Dell's got to go. You took Tank Dell being like, well, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins will get the cheaper version. Nico missed a month. Diggs is out for the season, and Tank Dell still is irrelevant. Dalton Schultz is more a part of this offense right now than Tank Dell.
It's
Dude,
tough.
the Texans have played the last 3 games. They played the Cowboys, the Titans, and the Jags. And C.J. Stroud had 11 points, 17 points, and 14 points in those games. And Tank Dell, bless his heart.
That's why we were low on him. I mean, hopefully people listening don't have Stroud. We were pretty low on
Bless his
Stroud
heart.
entering the season.
You know
bless
who's
his heart,
averaging more
Tank
points
Dell,
than
8,
CJ?
9, and 3. Thanks, Tank. You
Nick
broke your leg.
Westbrook-Akine is averaging more points than him.
Dude, Nick
20
Westbrook-Akine, in one game has more points than Tank Dell's had in November.
Jalen Waddle averaging more points. Rashad Bateman. You can just take some random NPC off the waiver wire and it'd probably be averaging more points than Tank Dell this year. It's
I
tough.
can't believe it took us 13 weeks, but I'm
Yeah,
glad he's
Stroud
there.
and Tank Dell, you're in the burn book.
Season wouldn't
All
be
right.
complete without them in the burn book.
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Email us trivia about, we just talked about a lot of stuff. Yeah. Email us, I'll take trivia on beignets. I'll take trivia on Gus Johnson. I'll take trivia on Byron Wizard White, whatever you want. Iron Crosses, whatever. ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Email us, and then also send us your fantasy court cases. I have a wild fantasy court case for you guys
Ooh.
this week.
Nice.
And then I have something that happened to me, and then I also have something I'm considering doing. Those are things.
okay. That's what you call tease.
Yeah. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kai, for producing this episode. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Austin. Most of all, thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you, Lorne.
Lord.
Thank you, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I
Nice.
just sneezed.
Sorry.
Yeah, you
Wow.
put a finger up. Was that like you needed to say something or you were sneezing?
Were you telling me to stop?
No, I was pointing to our Lord and Savior, Lorne Michaels.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Tom Petty, GOAT.
Dude, yeah. Jackie, one of her favorite songs is Wildflowers.
Sounds
Also,
very
one of the
familiar.
best things that's ever run on the ringer.com, great website, is Rob Harvilla's obituary of Tom Petty. Which I've
Check
said
it out.
before on this thing. You've
Did we
definitely done Tom Petty before.
I feel like
'cause
we've done
that's
Tom
why I said
Petty maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah, because I think I just said the same thing I said like
We
6
just
weeks ago.
had the Wildflowers conversation.
I just said
I-
sounds familiar.
Fuck. Did I say that exact same thing
Yeah.
that I
I
said?
think you
at the
did.
beginning?
Dude, we're starting to do this at an alarming rate.
Fuck.
We're going to be like those people that Google what's Alzheimer's and then see that it's already purple.
It's like your number one search.
Like you've already looked at it. Oh, God.
Sometimes if I
we
listen
keep
back,
having the same fucking conversations.
it's like Edge of Tomorrow, but just for podcasting.
Heifetz is losing it. All right. Let me, who, give me another band here. Tribe Called Quest.
You know, we just did that, didn't
no,
we?
we just
Did we?
dude. No.
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 We've done them. We've done them, I think.
It was years ago.
All right.
You can't do another band. This opens up a whole can of worms once we do that once.
not
We
doing
just
it. I'm
did all
not
the Harry
really doing
Potter
it.
Coachella bands. Pick one of them.
Ivan Cornejo.
Lavender Brown. That's Harry Potter.
Fucking Jimmy Eat World.
Oh, yeah. They're there. We didn't mention them.
Yeah.
I only know that one song, The Middle, but it's a great song.
I think I'm kind of in that lane. too.
Everybody knows that song.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do they have other songs?
They were big when I was growing up, but I never got too into them. But yeah, that one song is like super famous.
It just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Yeah.
What are they
song.
doing for the other 30 minutes of that Coachella set?
I mean, there's people that love Jimmy Eat World. Like my
Really?
generation, there'll be a bunch of 40-year-olds like rocking out.
People like
That's my
Jimmy.
guess.
Don't touch Jimmy. Jimmy Eat World. Remember the Seinfeld guy who's Jimmy who speaks in third person
Yeah.
or
That's
first
a-
person?
yeah.
He has the jump shoes. Dude, do you remember the jump shoes? I had those growing
I don't
up.
remember those.
DK, those were like out of style by the time we were
Yeah.
born.
Oh my God. It's like I had the original pumps. That's
Did
how
you
old
really?
I am. Yeah.
Don't touch Jimmy. That guy was
Is
a
there
maniac.
anything more benign?
Jimmy's really digging Elaine. Or whatever.
Is there anything more benign that like a person could do in your life that would be more concerning than starting to talk in the third person?
Yeah.
Like a more harmless, meaningless thing that like would bother you more?
How quickly would you guys stop me if at the top of the pod today you're like, Craig, who was your winner of the day? And I was like, Craig's winner of the day was the Steelers.
5
Would you be-
seconds.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Could not abide it. Wouldn't allow it.
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you or anyone you know talks in the third person. And if you do it, tell us why. And if your friends do it, tell us what happened.
Looking is intercepted.
Oh my
DK,
God.
when you said Breeson and Beignet,
Does it feel at all like maybe
Stroud.
he jumped the shark on that call? Like
No,
that was
how
just like a
dare
little
you?
too far.
No. What? He's the only person on this earth truly living in the moment.
Okay, I take it back.
goodbye, everyone.